Hi everyone and welcome to High Playing Games' Circuit Superstars eSports test event. My name's Simon and I'll be your host for this session. It was supposed to be in a private lobby, but we had to go into a public lobby for the event itself because private lobbies were down on the day. However, we still got in 5 exquisite rounds with in-round voting for everyone that took part. We still had full lobbies and we still had great fun. We used the old style cart scoring system. Get your words out, Simon. 20 down to 1 because it's 12 per lobby. A point for poll as well. And we're going to take you through those 5 events now. We had 14 drivers come to play and it was good fun to be had by all. Let's dive into round 1 then, and we're at Tilk Sport, I believe, the GP version. We're watching the orange and black car of Minardi SimSport, but look behind because that brawn-styled livery is White Van Man. Kenjo's the third car in this train, and as you can see, Kenjo makes a bit of a mistake on his quali lap, but we're just getting a look of the circuit here. But it is White Van Man who has got the upper advantage, and this is where he makes quite a lot of the difference around that double apex corner. And then, although Minardi SimSport does get a little bit of a better line through that corner, it all goes a little bit unstuck right at the end. White Van Man taking a superb line around the penultimate corner to take pole position for the inaugural event. Head of Minardi SimSport, Doghouse in third ahead of Paladin, doing a superb result for fourth ahead of Kenjo, Fafi, Satorimon, Silverwolf, Player 2, Joachim Skulstad and Meervold rounding out the grid. Quite a big field spread there, and you saw Joachim in the yellow car making a bit of a faff of his quali lap. There's our grid. I'm going to take a drink because we're going to need it because lights are out. Off and away, and it is White Van Man doing a great run there, but look, Paladin gets a little bit of a tap, and although the front three do manage to pull away, it was absolute carnage behind, and it separated the top 3 out from the rest of the field. White Van Man, Minardi SimSport and Doghouse well clear of everyone else, making a break. And let's take a look at that start from everywhere else behind. Apologies. And you can see there it was all kinds of carnage. Kenjo getting spun around and then causing a kaleidoscope of carnage behind. We're watching it from Meervold's perspective. It's Player 2 getting caught up there. Meervold to Torimon spinning around everywhere. Silverwolf managing to thread his way through slightly. But Paladin was the big, huge loser here because he's in trouble. And now you can see Satorimon starting to make back places again as Joachim and and Paladin having a bit of contact, which lets Satorimon get back through. Paladin, though, down from 4th to 11th on the grid. Not a happy bunny. Up front, it is still White Van Man holding off Minardi SimSport with Doghouse just behind. That's Satorimon taking a move on Joachim Skulstad. For position, Silverwolf looking behind. Everyone else starting to fan out, but that was the move that started to cost White Van Man a bit of the race as Minardi SimSports tried to go the long way around the outside as they come to the start-finish straight, just about managing to hang off, and that was because of being respectful driving up front, which was something that seemed to be slightly lacking towards the back end of the field, mainly due to some lag spikes, it must be said. Doghouse, though, now starting to get interested because these two are squabbling and using up their tyres up front. And there you can see White Van Man goes the wrong side of the bollard, gets a corner cut penalty, and through into the lead goes Minardi SimSport. Doghouse fancies second position and he gets it through as well. Beautifully done. Further back down the field, Joachim makes a tap on Satorimon. That doesn't work out well for him. And then that causes carnage for the recovering Kenjo, who's been at the back of the field since the very beginning. Great pace in that car, but unfortunately Kenjo not able to make much of it with connection with Silverwolf, and then back through goes Meervold. However, it's all a little bit sad tales for Joachim, who then goes the wrong side of the bollard after going off. And then Silverwolf, so excited at having people alongside him, sadly fell to the back. This was an issue for Fafi, who was having a Player 2 that was, who was having a relatively quiet race, keeping clean, but it was White Van Man who was the first to trigger the pit stops, and he gets out just ahead of Kenjo, and now you can see a flying Meervold in the background as well. But it's White Van Man having the issues, and he needs to get past Satorimon, who's yet to stop and does so with ease. And that's because next lap around, everyone's piling in. That's Doghouse and Minardi SimSport both in. It's a 2-stop race usually, this one. You can go for 3 if you're aggressive. We've gone for the long route here. And there you can see everyone going through, but White Van Man just about gets out in front. But of course, he's got an extra lap on his tyres. Now you can see Kenjo leapfrogging Satoramon in the pit stops. Joachim in there as well and losing time. But it's White Van Man ahead. But you get the feeling that Minardi Simsport is waiting for the right opportunity to get himself through. And now you can see up front, it's Faffy. Player 2, I think, who is yet to pit. And this is key because player 2 yet to pit with that move has put himself into a slightly awkward position and then clips Minardi Simsport, causes all kinds of trouble. The 4 of them are all together, Doghouse involved in there too, and somehow the leading trio come out the other side. But that is White Van Man breaking on the dirt. That's never the best way to get through. Minardi Simsport takes the lead. Beautifully done by the Italian, and Doghouse there having a good old watching brief too. But sadly, it's Kenjo and Paladin who have had the real problems trying to get back up through the field. They've lost touch with the leaders very much so now because it's a 3-horse race for the lead. With player 2 now out of it with his late pit stop, he's now under attack from left, right and centre, dropping down the field in the second half of the race. And this is Doghouse versus White Van Man in the battle for second, and into the pits decides to come both of them, hilariously, to try and undercut Minardi Simsport. Into the pits they both come, but it's carnage and chaos there. Doghouse overshoots his pit box, and that is a 45-point turn trying to get back in it again, and that's a shame because that drops him behind not just, you can see Satoramon getting through, but and there's Paladin as well coming out just behind Doghouse just to show how much that caused a problem. Minardi Simsport in next time around. He's back out in the lead ahead of, you just saw a flash of White Van Man behind. And yeah, problems all down the field. That's Silverwolf getting past Satoramon in the pits. Satoramon there gets straight back through again. Just about. Oh, that's not quite an apex, but we'll make it stick somehow. And then later on the lap, that was Satoramon getting back past Meervold, who was having a bit of a better race than he did quali. But then he runs wide himself. Under attack there from Silverwolf, who fancies a run down into turn 1. And well, Meervold scared out of the way, frankly. So a place gained for Silverwolf. Up front, as that's Paladin retaking Joachim. I believe that was for position, Paladin doing a later stop. It was all kind of shaking itself out towards the back. That was Kenjo just briefly there. But the big thing is, we've not seen Faffy since the beginning. He's quietly gotten on with everything, and it's let him get up into 3rd place. And Doghouse, with his dodged pit stop, is down in 4th, not where his car would have been. And he wasn't quite able to get to Faffy by the time it got to the line. And that was because we had late last-minute stops with Meervold and Joachim both running out of fuel. But it was Minardi Simsport who took the line and took the win beautifully to take the first win of the season. Ahead of White Van Man 2nd. Faffy taking a superb and stealthy podium in 3rd ahead of Doghouse. Kenjo a fantastic recovery to 5th. Ahead of Satoramon player 2, Silverwolf. And then we had Paladin, Meervold and Joachim Skalstad rounding out the order. Now you can see our trio in the podium. And of course that reflects the standings. A point for pole for White Van Man means that he's only 3 behind Minardi Simsport. But you get the impression that there's going to be some interesting heated rivals going on across this event. So there we go. So we're off for round 2 at Renvault, and this time we're in the trucks and we're watching Minardi Simsport about to pop himself onto a beautiful pole position by nearly 1/4 of a second. And as you can see, it's all about hugging those apexes and using absolutely all of the track, and a little bit more in some of the cases by running the dirt lines around the outside. An absolutely textbook lap from the Circuit Superstars Pro, taking that chicane very smoothly and scrubbing very little speed off in that final turn to take pole by just under 1/4 of a second from a trio right next to each other of Kenjo, White Van Man and Doghouse. New guy Black Rebel joins from round 2 onwards ahead of Faffy, player 2, Paladin, not quite so good this time around with Satoramon, and then a big gap back to Silverwolf, Meervold and Joachim Skalstad, a further 2 seconds off of everyone else. Now you can see the grid forming up. And there is our pole sitter, Minardi Simsport, off to a great start ahead of Kenjo. And it's As You Were up front, although that looked very much like we was about to have White Van Man tap into Kenjo. It didn't happen though. Satoramon managing to get past Paladin up front just about. And then it all chaos down at the hairpin. And look at that. Problems for Faffy, problems for player 2. Everyone getting real stuck in there, including Black Rebel. Now, Black Rebel gets around and out ahead of Satoramon. Watch those two later on in the race as they start to clip each other. Faffy getting in the way, and that was Paladin having problems towards the back. And for the second race in a row, you'll see here Paladin in trouble. Firstly being ponked by player 2, then he gets hit with Meervold as well, in the pink car, sorry. And up front, it's a 4-horse getaway instead of a 3-horse this time. Minardi Simsport, Kenjo, White Van Man and Doghouse clinging on at the back. Further back, more chaos and carnage. This time Satoramon and Faffy getting into each other. Player 2 getting around the pair of them. Satoramon runs out wide and it's going to be 5 trucks trying to get round corners together, and it's not going to work, although Faffy does get past Silver Wolf initially, but Meervold puts Paladin into the tyres. Not a happy bunny, Paladin, at all. Let's take another look at that as there's more problems. It's more like Destruction Derby as Silverwolf plops Faffy into the wall. So a little bit of karma, I think, back and forth going on there. We need Fernando Alonso sticking in something there. All of this allowing Joachim Skaustad, who's not really got the pace, to get ahead of people, although he did clomp the back of Paladin there, who was busy recovering in the background. And then more troubles again for Silverwolf and Joachim again running out of talent down at the hairpin. Bit of a problem for them. And then I think the last one of these kind of quartet clashing into each other. But what this was doing, Faffy, of course, a podium sitter in round 1, now battling for wooden spoon honours with Silverwolf, Joachim and Meervold. But up front, it is running swimmingly for Minardi Simsport, who's got Kenjo right behind him. And those two have a tiny gap over White Van Man, who popped into the pits last time around. So Kenjo, sensing the undercut, dives in himself, bringing Doghouse with him too, who just dropped another second back. As those two pit, you'll start to see some people go through in the background. The first one's Black Rebel, the second will be Satoramon. Neither of these two are thinking that they're going to pit, because we're on a shorter race this time round, and that's the power of the undercut. White Van Man gets through and past Kenjo, and Kenjo, although having the pace over White Van Man early on, not able to get that track position thanks to the power of the undercut in the trucks round Vrenvoort. Beautifully done there, and look, already under pressure, new tyres, Kenjo trying to stick it down the inside, so close between the two. Just about being able to keep it together. Minardi Simsport staying out a lap longer. This will give him fresher tyres. But look, through goes Black Rebel and through goes Satoramon too. He's going to exit down in 3rd position, gets out just ahead of White Van Man. But this is now all for position for the race. There's 2 laps to go. We're on the penultimate lap now. Satoramon really struggling trying to lift and coast. I don't think he's quite got it in him to hold back these drivers, but he's trying every which way he can to try and make some kind of impression on this championship. Contact between the two. Minardi Simsport very gracious, but look at that. That was the thing going on in the background. White Van Man clomping that barrier. Through goes Doghouse into a podium potential slot if they can catch Satoramon and Black Rebel too. And in fact, Satoramon on the final lap runs out of fuel, dives into the pits, but it's done the damage because look, Minardi Simsport held up with all of that politeness. Through goes Doghouse up into what is now 2nd position. Black Rebel's up ahead. That's a lap's Joachim in between them in the yellow. But look, the car up the top is Black Rebel. And he's holding on just about lifting and coasting. Can he make it round the final corner? Is he going to win on debut? Yes, he is. Black Rebel takes the win just ahead of Doghouse, Minardi Simsport. And then look at that. Nearly a dead heat for 4th between White Van Man and Kenjo. There they were popping past Joachim Skaustad. And then, yeah, White Van Man goes running wide on the exit. Kenjo nearly had him. So close. Fantastic racing from those top 5. Player 2 was able to recover from an early poor performance to get 6th ahead of Paladin 7. Satoramon's late race pit stop dropped into 8th. Faffy, a terrible ninth compared to a podium on debut. Quite where he really sits in the standings we don't know. And then it was Silverwolf, Meervold and Joachim Skaustad rounding out the positions. And there you can see Black Rebel on the podium. Fantastic stuff. Top step for him. Doghouse second, Minardi Simsport third. And then here are the stand-ins then. We have Minardi Simsport leading the way from White Van Man, Doghouse into third. Then Black Rebel fourth on count back for a win against Kenjo's 2 fifth positions. Faffy stalling slightly there after his excellent podium. Player 2 leaps ahead of Satoramon. Paladin trying to just get a clean run in, I think, for the poor guy himself. Silverwolf 8th ahead of Meervold. And Joachim Skaustad showing that just turning up and getting home those points pops you on the leaderboard. And we're welcome to have everyone here, so long as you try and drive cleanly and politely wherever possible. So we're off to Sugar Hill next in the Paginos, the cute and cuddly cars, and we're watching White Van Man. But look at the orange car behind, that's Doghouse. Doghouse will go on to take pole position with this lap, and you'll see the key difference is where he gets that 2 tenths advantage over his nearest rival, Minardi Sport. Great run across the line there. And it's Doghouse there that gets the pole from Minardi Simsport. Faffy, a much better improved third ahead of White Van Man. Kenjo and Paladin next up, followed by Black Rebel, not quite on at the same pace as his winning one, alongside Satoramon. Meervold ahead of player 2, Silverwolf and Joachim. Look at that, the top 9 all within a second. Bodes well for a great layout. There's Doghouse. Minardi Simsport. Cameraman having a little bit of an epileptic fit there. And you can see Faffy in third, getting off to a decent enough start, as well as the teams all make their way through. White Van Man all over the back of Faffy, actually trying to find a way through, but Doghouse and Minardi Simsport well out front. Everyone else quite happily pedaling behind. Look at Kenjo getting up the inside of White Van Man, side by side for 4th place. Down to the end of the circuit. And oh, that looked like Black Rebel getting it all a little bit wide there. The humbug car. Satoramon doing the same in the bright yellow one, and player 2 fancying a little dive bomb down the inside. But yeah, everything looking not too bad, and then it's all going to go a little bit wrong for Faffy as he clips the inside, bounces across, hits White Van Man as well. And let's take a look at that on the replay. Clonk on the inside. You try to straight line it as much as possible. It doesn't work. Through goes Kenjo, through goes Paladin as well. And look like player 2 having a little squabble too. But the same happened, but on a reverse-a-roo for Doghouse up front. And this is for the lead. Minardi Simsport takes it at the top of the circuit. Really well done there. And then look at the way how everyone's kind of bunched up behind. It's a little bit ping-pongy as we make our way through. But the one that's losing out the most here is Faffy, dropping down the order quite quickly, unfortunately, for the driver, who seems to get into a little bit of Faffy situations himself. And there you can see he's about to do a clobber onto, I think it was player 2 that he smacks on the outside there. Black Rebel involved too. Satoramon taking a watching brief with Meervold right behind. And there we go, more trouble there for Satoramon, player 2 and Black Rebel. And Satoramon ends up kind of missing the braking and diving in for an early stop, and he'll come to regret that later. Up front though, it's Kenjo battling away with White Van Man over third. But look at that, Minardi Simsport. I think he tried to do a dummy there. He was going to going to take the line, but went into pit stop as well. This is Satoramon doing the same in the background. A nice little cutesy pit stop in the Pacino. I just love the look of that. In comes player 2 and Black Rebel as well, as they squabble over... Paladin and Black Rebel for the squabble for 5th position. Next lap round, in comes Doghouse, but so does Kenjo, and that's a second one where Kenjo slightly overshot his marks, and that's going to let White Van Man escape slightly. But Minardi Simsport has undercut a lot of them, and that's the power always of the undercut, and that's the power of having no fuel left. Meervold down in 12th position, on course for letting Joachim actually not finish last for the first time this season. But look, immediately Doghouse tries to go for it, but he catches the bollard, and that is a corner cut penalty. And that stops him just for a little while. But yeah, Minardi Simsport looking a bit tentative compared to normal. And Doghouse basically smashing him round the corner as if to say, come on, mate. Paladin having a battle with Fafi and Black Rebel behind. Satoramon, who had done the undercut up ahead, looking very good for a potential squeal of 6th or 5th position, depending on how that all works out. But it's all going to go horribly wrong for him later, no matter how squabbly that battle for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th continues. Up front though, it's still Minardi Simsport, but look, Doghouse goes right the way around the outside. That's a humble move there. Gets the inside for the next one. Minardi Simsport's fancies cutting back. And there's Mirvold finally making it into the pits, just on the background there. Letting Joachim get through into 11th. But yeah, real interesting kind of fuel saving, I guess, from Minardi Simsport. I think he realised that he'd come in a lap too early, as that was player 2 running into all kinds of problems there down the back of the field. There we are back up front. Minardi Simsport now seems to have done his fuel saving and fancies having a go at Doghouse again. But as it comes to the penultimate lap, Satoramon bails out of it again on the penultimate lap for the second race in a row, but not for Minardi Simsport. And this is huge because look, Kenjo finally not being absolutely mollered down at lap 1, dives up into 2nd. White Van Man goes round the outside for 3rd, and that is Minardi Simsport running out of fuel as he crosses the line. Paladin, having his best run of the season, could have had an extra point there, but instead plays the team game and smashes Minardi Simsport over the line. But no one could stop Doghouse. Right strategy, right pace, right call, and won by over 3 seconds. That was Paladin showing his might there. So Doghouse wins from Kenjo, best finish for him. White Van Man, another podium in 3rd. Minardi Simsport off the podium in 4th ahead of Paladin, his best effort. Fafi dropped to 6th, Black Rebel stayed 7. Player 2 got 8 ahead of Silver Wolf. He managed to get past Satoramon, who had to do a second pit stop, the only one to do so. And that cost him a potential 6th ahead of Joachim, getting his best result ahead of Mirvold. And look at that, a happy Kenjo on the podium, and even happier Doghouse, who takes the win. And that changes the order entirely. Doghouse now up in the lead with 2 points advantage over Minardi Simsport. White Van Man in 3rd. Kenjo puts himself into this championship battle though with that 2nd place, moving up into 4th. Black Rebel equal with Fafi on points, but keeps it because of the win. Paladin was the biggest gainer though. He jumped ahead of Satoramon and player 2. And then we've got Silver Wolf in double figures. Mirvold closed into within a point of Joachim Skaustad, but all to play for in different kind of tiers of how the championship's looking. It's very much into a top 4 middle cluster, and then a squabble for the wob and spoon towards the bottom end. Okay, so next up we're at Tilksport Club Circuit, and this time we're with the prototypes, the Conquests, and we're watching new driver Hotshot, who joined in the championship in the penultimate round. Getting around this tricky chicane is one of the keys to the circuit. As you can see, Silver Wolf getting it a little bit squirrely there. Making sure that you keep all the speed around that double apexed corner as well. Very, very key. And there you can see Kenjo getting a problem up ahead, and then he has a bigger problem in this corner, running out wide and ending up at the back row of the grid. Hotshot tried his best, but he couldn't quite topple Minardi Simsport for the pole position, so it goes to Minardi Simsport along with that extra point ahead of Doghouse doing another fine 3rd. Paladin a superb 4th, his best effort of the season ahead of White Man Van, Black Rebel, player 2 Fafi, and then Satoramon, Silver Wolf, Kenjo with his troubles, and Joachim Skaustad rounding out the order. I think that might be White Van Man's lowest grid position as well. There's Minardi Simsport. That's the rest of the field, fancying to try and catch him up. What can they do though? We'll soon find out. Off and away, and it's Minardi Simsport, a great start up front ahead of Hotshot and Doghouse, and then you can see further back, player 2 starts off some carnage with, I think that was Fafi behind, causing problems as well. And there you can see Joachim completely missing his braking, smashing into Kenjo. Kenjo giving what for back again. And wow, another recovery drive it seems for Kenjo. Up front though, it is Minardi Simsport ahead of Hotshot and Doghouse, but then Minardi Simsport has a bizarre explosion from one of the corner cutting curves, narrowly avoids a collision between player 2 taking out Satoramon there at the same time, and there's the replay. Huge ramifications for the championship because of for what's to come. This was one of the other big long races. As you can see, Paladin there running into trouble. And through goes firstly White Van Man, And then Black Rebel gets through as well, as does Silverwolf, having a great start there too as Faffy goes on. And then Paladin has another spin. We did have a few bits of lag during this opening stint of the race, and that's why you can see some bizarre driving. We did have this a couple of times throughout the championship. As there you can see Doghouse versus Hotshot. Hotshot gets back through again. This now for the lead of the race, obviously with Minardi Simsport down at the back. And so Doghouse versus Hotshot for the lead. White Van Man keeping a watching brief in third. There you can see Black Rebel and then Faffy following behind, trying to keep up. And there's the rest of the field. Saturamon's got back ahead. That's so much carnage has been going on behind the field. He's running 6th, and that's Minardi Simsport about to take 6th away from him. Kenjo next up to try and replace him. And oh, there's more problems. That's Faffy. And that is Black Rebel as well. And yeah, there you can see Faffy tagging the Black Rebel and then trying to just give it no space at all. And then back on again. Oh dear, Minardi Simsport having fun. And Silverwolf causing problems as well for both Paladin and Player 2. But everyone facing back the right way as well. And here we are back up front. Or slightly further up the field. That's Minardi Simsport trying to get round Black Rebel this time. In the battle for what is, I think, about 4th position at this point, and that's Satoramon about to lose out to Kenjo. Or is he? Ooh, runs out wide, can't quite hold it on around the outside. Little love tap there, unfortunately. Kenjo has to try and find his way back through again. He's got the overall pace over Satoramon by no means. As that is Silverwolf getting back through again, and oh, more problems with Faffy this time. And again, Player 2, I think that is, or Paladin, one of the two, in trouble. And through goes Joachim, taking positions left, right and centre where other people are running into trouble and carnage. So battle at the back, and that's unfortunately Faffy into the pits to get some repairs, and that puts him slightly off strategy and allows him to have a much cleaner race for the rest of it. In comes Hotshot though, trying to make the undercut work against Doghouse. In comes White Van Man as well though. So second and third pitting in, slightly overcooking it. And you can see again, the little men have to run. It does allow White Van Man a little bit of a jump back up again. But Doghouse has some serious superior pace and is able to just keep the advantage. But these guys are all 2-stopping. Minardi Simsport is 1-stopping, so ultimately he'll end up back ahead, despite all that drama down at the opening lap with that bollard. As much as White Van Man tries to catch up, with Hotshot he can't do it. But this was the first of a couple of incidents, and there's problems for Satoramon upside down, all triggered off by, sadly, Black Rebel smacking into Silverwolf. Round and over goes Satoramon, eventually getting the right way and rejoins just ahead of Faffy. And there's no love lost between those two during this championship. I've cut out quite a lot of those collisions. But sadly that was Silverwolf in for repairs, ruining his great run so far in that race. Up front though, Doghouse leads along with Minardi Simsport. Those two kind of going off on their own little tangents, and it is still, sadly, for White Van Man, no way through on Hotshot. He seems to have the advantage here quite happily. Joachim Skalstad was running not too badly, but Silverwolf able to take advantage. Pit stops too, and now you can see Minardi Simsport going through, as does Kenjo as well, who's been having a great recovery drive. And that puts, unfortunately, for Hotshot and White Van Man, them down a position, and now they've got to make their way back past Kenjo. Kenjo on older tyres, trying to make the one-stop work again. He's been in the wars too, just like Minardi Simsport, and he's trying to hold off the guys around him. Runs out slightly wide, knows better of it though. He's playing the long game, and Hotshot goes through and takes what would be at this point 3rd position. Doghouse leads. There's Minardi Simsport just up ahead, being closed down. It's all going to come to a head very, very soon as they're popping a lap on Joachim Skalstad there. But Minardi Simsport trying to save the fuel whilst he can, and then as soon as they catch back up again, he seems to go back into full power mode again, having saved that fuel where he could whilst he was on his own. Now back into battle stations, trying to keep Hotshot behind him. There's White Van Man. Kenjo dropped back behind him too. And then it all starts to come to a head with a couple of laps to go. Here's Minardi Simsport trying to save the fuel. Hotshot looking one way, looking the other, trying to go around the outside. What can he do? Not enough. That's White Van Man taking advantage, like a White Van Man always does. And frankly, takes that third position. Hotshot muscles his way back through again, dives back into third. Minardi Simsport trying to keep his car as wide as possible. That's not a conquest that he wants to have taken. And then it comes to the tricky chicane. Hotshot has one way, has the other. Minardi bounces through. White Van Man's going to take the pair of them. And no, there's a collision between the lot. And that is huge consequences. Let's take a look at that again. So, side by side into the chicane. Looks doable. Very skinny position there for Hotshots. But Minardi Simsport and Hotshot make it work. Not sure if Minardi catches the bollard and gets a cut penalty or not for that, but White Van Man says thank you very much. But Hotshot then pops into the back of him. Round they both go. Minardi Simsport has nowhere to go whatsoever. The three of them are into a spin, and Kenjo, literally a second behind, has nowhere to go either. You're committed full speed round that double apex corner, and so bing bang a bong gives Doghouse a free pass because literally second to fifth have all just crashed into each other. And that was enough for Minardi Simsport to park it up in rage. And that was the end of his outing there at all. And through goes Paladin, through goes Black Rebel, through goes Faffy, and through goes Satoramon, and the rest. Player 2-2. And there's Doghouse lapping him into the lead. But it was all to go wrong for Paladin. Great result. Out of fuel as he crosses the line. Past goes player 2, past goes Satoramon, and that was Doghouse taking the win. Beautiful run from Doghouse, had the measure of everyone else all the way along, and that really asserted his dominance not over just this race but the championship too. Doghouse wins. Hotshot makes his mark with second place in a controversial accident with White Van Man taking that final step on the podium. Kenjo fourth, great recovery. Black Rebel fifth. Faffy 6th, player 2, another fine 7th, Satoramon 8th, Paladin running out of fuel down to 9th, Silverwolf 10, and Joachim Skaustad didn't finish the race but was classified 11th ahead of Minardi Simsport. And there you can see Doghouse celebrating because that means he is now one step and one hand pretty much on the trophy. It was going to have to go horrifically wrong for him for anything to change, but it was really Doghouse versus White Van Man for the championship. But White Van Man needed to make sure Doghouse was not going to finish higher than 5th in order to claim it. Minardi Simsport down to 4, just 1 point ahead of Kenjo. Black Rebel making his mark very nicely indeed. Remember, he's one race less than the rest. Into 5th, Faffy just behind. Player 2 leaps ahead of Paladin. As a result of that, Satoramon right behind. Hotshot inserts himself into 9th or 10th, I think that is. Head of Silverwolf. And Joachim Skaustad moves ahead of Mirvold, who bowed out after race 3. It's all to play for as we get to the final round. Is it Doghouse or is it going to be White Van Man? Okay, with the final round now up and away, Panda JJ1 is our new car on the grid. Again with the conquest, this time around Whistle Valley. And we're on board watching White Van Man. He needs to make sure that his lap is as best as possible, and that kind of line around that tight hairpin, and making sure that this switchback here, where so much time can be won and lost, looking beautiful there, using all of the track and a little bit more. What can he do? Can he get pole? Certainly won't be for that car. That was player 2, clatter in the wall, and it wasn't quite good enough for White Van Man. Hotshot grabs it, but by just 27 thousandths of a second, the closest front row of the season. Kenjo and Faffy, great runs from them, but Doghouse down in 5th. Is the pressure getting to him? Ahead of Black Rebel, Paladin, Panda JJ1, player 2, Satoramon, Silverwolf. 1.8 seconds off pole. Here we are running down then to turn 1. We're off and away. Good start by Hotshot. Everyone clean up front, but then Faffy smashes into Kenjo and all hell breaks loose behind with player 2. Deciding to straight line the entire chicane, takes out the Black Rebel with him, and there we can see the problem number 1 there. Faffy smashes into Kenjo, so that's a problem there. And then poor Panda JJ1, player 2, Paladin and the Black Rebel being absolutely taken out by player 2, straight lining the chicane. And then more trouble down here. The Black Rebel launches off the top of Satoramon over and out of the course, amazingly. And then Satoramon and player 2 having bizarre little lag spikes there. Up front though, it is all good for Hotshot, leading away from White Van Man, who desperately needs this win to try and make sure that he puts as many points on the board to stop Doghouse, who's behind Kenjo, who somehow survived that assault from Faffy. One of the big winners was Silverwolf, who was able to leapfrog up 3 positions off the line, but then bouncing off the curbs, let the Black Rebels through. Or Black Rebel through, sorry. And you can see Player2 and Satoramon behind. Everyone looking juicy up front, but that's Doghouse having a go at Kenjo. Is he able to make it stick? No, he's not. Kenjo retakes back that 3rd position and stays ahead. Everyone else having good juicy battles behind. That looked like Satoramon having a go at Player 2 there. And this was Panda JJ1. Only in 1 race this season. Making a good move there on, I think that was Player 2. And here's Satoramon having another go back through. Player 2 showing that he can absolutely play in race fair when it's not a turn 1, lap 1 drama. Retakes the position from Satoramon, who was not enjoying that track. Up front though, Doghouse back on the back of Kenjo, and this time really looking like he'd got that final exit corner perfectly done. Is he going to have a go down into turn 1? Ooh, Kenjo runs out wide. That's, I think, Player 2 or Paladin having a little squabble trying to unlap himself there after a pit stop. But Doghouse through, and that is crucial because, again, it's another car between himself and the 5th place that he needs. Now up to 3rd. See as the Black Rebels and Paladin pit for their little battle in the midfield. Satoramon there gets overtaken by Faffy and then cuts a cut for his own measure there. And then the leading trio all come in all at once. White Van Man, Doghouse, Kenjo all in. Hotshot's just staying out an extra lap longer. Had the advantage really. And then there's Faffy back in it again, and he's not pitted, and that's the problem. White Van Man gets Faffy in between him. Doghouse has to do an immediate remedial move, dives back through, overtakes Faffy in a great move. Faffy, of course, with less tyre for his advantage, so slips immediately back. But it's those key moves that make all the difference, and Kenjo immediately dives back through, and well, Faffy's coming to a stop there. I'm not sure if that was a sorry for lap 1 earlier or not, but it kind of held them both up in the end. White Van Man, though, wants to keep Doghouse behind, but doesn't also want this to affect the championship. But Doghouse says, no, I'm coming through anyway, and takes the lead of this battle for 2nd position, it must be said. But they're the lead of the race altogether, as they saw Hotshot's in. Hotshot, later stop. Drops back down into the order, so Doghouse now takes currently the lead of the race over White Van Man. He doesn't want this to just be for him, he wants this to be for the entire race altogether. In fact, Hotshot, that wasn't a late pit stop, that was for actual position overall. Hotshot going so long into the race, losing out. And so you can see Silverwolf having a bit of a moment. But it's really been these two all the way, having a great scrapperoo, and as everyone else kind of comes around, that's Hotshot's going past Kenjo for 3rd position to take that final podium slot away right at the dying death. But he'd left his pit stop too late to catch back up to Doghouse, who is going to win this race. Across the line he comes, beautifully done. There's Kenjo running in 3rd. He's going to be 3rd overall in the championship by the time this all finishes. He'll be 4th in the race, but 3rd overall. Great run by him. There's White Van Man. He's going to be 2nd overall in the championship. Ran a good race, tried to take it all the way to the wire, but the champion in 2nd place, and to win the race as well, my bad. Doghouse takes the crown, takes the championship, wins the event in absolute style. Fantastic run by him across all 5 events. The only one who won't be in the Doghouse tonight will literally be him. He's a winner. Give the dog a bone. There's the overall results from the race. Doghouse wins from White Van Man. Hotshot with his late pit stop slipped down to 3rd. Kenjo beat home Faffy, who picked back up again. 1st race and last race. Paladin ahead of Panda JJ1 with his only race. Black Rebel had all kinds of problems there, as did Satoramon, so they didn't really factor, with Player 2 and Silverwolf rounding out the field. And then for the final stand-ins, it is Doghouse who wins, second to White Van Man. Third is Kenjo, fourth Minardi Simsport despite missing those last 2 rounds essentially, well, round and a bit. Faffy ends up 5th overall, beating home Black Rebel. I think he'll be pleased with that. And that was a change right at the end. Black Rebel's terrible final round basically let Faffy get back ahead. But Paladin, with a sneaky finale, to be fair, ended up beating home Hotshot with just 1 point, despite Hotshot only taking 2 rounds, bizarrely. Player 2 beat home Satorimon for 25 points versus 28. And then 11th in the championship was Silver Wolf ahead of Joachim Skaustad in 12th. Panda JJ won, only 1 race, but still managed to come home 13th, beating Meervold by the fact that all his points came from 1 race and not just the 3 that Meervold competed in. So Doghouse wins the round, he gets his Steam voucher. Congratulations, well done to him. Thank you so much for everyone for taking part. Really appreciate everyone coming along and enjoying. If you think that this would be something you'd like to see done more often with some other big events, either with Circuit Superstores or maybe with some other games as well, leave us a comment down below and let us know. And I hope to see you again here on Higher Plane Games. Happy racing! Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.